Caleb, a lot of the guys that are going to be in town this weekend are 2026 guys, 2027 guys. So there will be a lot of football played out before they make their decision. There is not a fantastic group of undecided guys because that's not the way the calendar works anymore. But Caleb, here's the way Tennessee recruiting works. It's a community effort. And I'm going to use another C word that Caleb kind of gets on me about. It is a culture thing. So Tennessee has recruited elite players like James Pierce is a great example. Mike Matthews is another one that could have gone to any school they wanted to, right?
Correct.
They have gotten them through culture. Well, because of the schedule, it's kind of like a family reunion. I don't know when is the last time you had a family reunion, but for me, it's been about 25 years. And close family still gets together on the holidays, but as far as the Wileys, which was my grandmother's maiden name, we don't get together. And you want this family of players that are led by George McIntyre, the quarterback, who has been actively recruiting for Tennessee, to be together on campus. And you want the environment to be good around them. I want to get to some players that are looking elsewhere based off my sources. But I first want to throw that at you, that Tennessee, because of the schedule, is probably not as solid with the majority of their prospects, as solid as they would like to be.
I think they're not as solid because of the loss last week and what could happen. All right, let me explain something to you guys real quick. The way I think recruiting works, and Dave's covered it more, so I don't want to explain to Dave recruiting when Dave has been way more involved in covering recruits than I have over the years. But from stepping back, you guys remember when you used to play the NCAA football game, the original one, when they had Dynasty mode and you had to recruit and you had to have players come in for visits at certain weekends. And like, if they came in for a visit and you lost that game, you almost always lost out on that recruit. Okay. That's not how recruiting typically works in the real world.
No.
When you bring players in, they're judging on, like you said, Dave, you are right, the culture, the excitement of the fan base, the excitement of the stadium, and all that to get swept up. That's a factor. The other factor is what trend is the direction going in. Now, that is where wins and losses matter, but that's not going to be affected by most of the time an individual win or loss. It's an overall conglomerate. So a great example, one of Tennessee's best recruiting weekends ever in the Lane Kiffin year was that 2009 when they lost to UCLA. Remember that? When they lost to UCLA at home?
Well, yeah, but the 2009 class was a bunch of felons.
No, but this was the 2010 class.
Okay.
Yeah. Tennessee lost to UCLA, and I'll never forget, like the next Monday, they picked up 3 commitments. Why? Losing to UCLA didn't signify some downward trend for Tennessee because it was Lane Kiffin's first year and he could still sell that he was building a program. So all the kids that were there were seeing was just the excitement of the University of Tennessee and the campus in Neyland Stadium. Where Florida is a bit different this time around. It's not like, oh, the kids were in town to witness a loss. No, that's not what matters. What matters is if Tennessee loses to Florida, you start seeing a disturbing trend related to the program that maybe it's not on the upward trajectory we thought under Josh Heupel. And that is the scariest reason that recruits could start flipping. And it's not going to just be the recruits in visiting this weekend, by the way. That'll be the entire class you've got to look at and see who might flip.
How about this? What's more important as a poll question on the YouTube page this weekend against Florida? College football playoff berth or recruiting? How about that? Throw that up there and bank on it. Think it's recruiting? Maybe I'm not as solid as I thought I was. We'll get Caleb's take 30 seconds. Commercial Bank, member FDIC.
Commercial Bank is your neighborhood bank. What makes us different from other banks? We understand that every customer has unique opportunities, challenges, and financial concerns. We don't expect you to fit into the same box as the next person or business. Whether it's purchasing a home, saving for your child's future, or planning for your next vacation, we're with you every step of the way to navigate life's big decisions. Commercial Bank. Life made better.
I'll go ahead and say it's more important for recruiting than it is the college football playoff, because I don't think this team, if they were to lose this weekend, is any threat to make a run in the college football playoff, even if they could get in, which I don't think anybody believes would really happen with Georgia and Alabama on the schedule. So if they lose, I think it could have a lasting impact beyond this year. Everything's been groovy for Tennessee. You've been able to point to Joe Milton even and say that's part of the problem, that the offense isn't as great. But come on, Mike Matthews, still got room for you. Got time for you to make big time plays. But now that would all be called into question. And the groovy vibes, I will always say, Caleb, and it's totally innate. You can't put a finger on it, but groovy vibes are what ultimately is the biggest factor in recruiting. It's not winning. It's no longer facilities. Everybody has them. Sure, it's NIL, but everybody's going to be on the same level playing field before too long when it goes through the schools. It's groovy vibes, which you referred to earlier. It's just a feel-good feel for the program. And if Tennessee loses to Florida, vamoose, that's gone.
You are right, but I have to say to you, Dave, one, I'll add to your point. This is what Butch Jones did in good. Butch Jones literally said Tennessee would be able to win some recruits with Alabama because they have a better juice bar than Alabama. Okay, so that's one of the dumbest things in a litany of dumb things. Between me and you, one of the dumbest things by Butch Jones standards is really, really dumb. Okay, so, but yes, he did say that. And you're right. The facilities, the stadium sizes, all that doesn't matter. You are right. In the 90s, Tennessee could perpetually lose to Florida and beat Florida out for recruiting battles because Neyland Stadium was a better place to play than the Swamp. It was. Like, it was decidedly better.
Well, and I don't know if you know this, but they didn't even have an indoor practice facility up until the late 2000s, early 2010s.
Well, I had read in places Spurrier didn't want an indoor practice facility either.
I hadn't heard that, but nevertheless, I mean, their facilities were woefully bad to be a program that had won so many championships.
Yes, Tennessee cashed in on that, on so many schools not being up to date. Now, what I will say is this, where I kind of break with you is that, look, Dave, Tennessee's not going to be able to recruit, period, if they don't make the college football playoff. If they don't make the college football playoff this year, there will be red flags galore surrounding Josh Heupel, and I will be the first one raising them. Okay, because I'll be out here saying year 4, you haven't made the college football playoff. You don't have a starter on your, and if it's because of the offensive line issues that we're all talking about, that's still a red flag because it's year 4 and you don't have a starter on the line that you signed out of high school. So if they don't make the college football playoff, I am all out going to be very, very, very judgmental, raising red flags. And Dave, you're all right. Recruiting is vibes. The minute red flags go up around a coach is the minute recruiting classes start to unravel nowadays. I mean, you can't. Have you seen a coach on the hot seat save themselves with a recruiting class? Never happened.
Well, okay. Neither one of us like this guy, but maybe Jimbo Fisher bought himself more time, but he paid out a lot of cash. I'm reaching for an example.
Yeah, they had to open up a checkbook, and it was the worst culture ever created at the time.
They also had to give him a huge buyout, which I'm sure that he told the recruits about as reason that he's not going anywhere. Okay, so here's the prospects you need to know about that, based on my sources I'm hearing, are considering other locales. I'm not raising the red flag. If I had to bet a mortgage payment, I want this very clear. I think Tennessee ends up with definitely 2 of these guys that are currently committed in the Vols number 7 class in the country. And I think they probably end up with 3. I'd go a car payment on 3, not a mortgage. But Jaden Harmon, the linebacker from Rome High School in Georgia, committed. Alabama is doing their best to flip him. Travis Smith, wide receiver. I mean, he's got Georgia, Alabama, and Auburn still after him. He's in Westlake High School in Atlanta. Obviously, that's in Georgia territory. But the guy that I'm most concerned about that we've covered on Hooker's Corner. And I'll tell you how to become a member of Hooker's Corner is Lagonza Shady Aftermath. No, but his nickname's Shady Hayward. I think that's the biggest concern. He went to Georgia last weekend.